Joining me is the founder of Small Business Women Australia, Amanda Rose. Amanda, great to see you again. And joining me in the studio, Melbourne Deputy Lord Mayor Nicholas Rees. Great to see you again as well, Nicholas. Now, melanoma research. We watched last night. The treatment pioneers, Georgina Long, I want you to have a look at this, and Richard Scolyer. I know, Nick, you watched this last night live, and so did I. They've been jointly named as 2024 Australians of the Year. Finally, the Australia Day Council, I think, might have got it right. Let's have a listen to what Brian said when he was made Australian of the Year about his own personal battle.
8 months ago, the stakes became personal.
I stand here tonight as a terminal brain cancer patient. I'm only 57. I don't want to die. I love my life, my family, my work. I have so much more to do and to give. For me, the decision to take on Georgina's groundbreaking plan was a no-brainer. Here was an opportunity for us to crack another incurable cancer and make a difference.
Amanda, I mean, not a dry eye in the house. He was extraordinary last night.
Yes, the I don't want to die. If that doesn't touch you, then you obviously have no soul. And, you know, hopefully something like this will encourage more investment into research. I find that it kind of falls behind. Yes, there's a lot of money that goes into research, but never enough, whether it's cancer or other diseases. And, you know, people come up with great ideas. I know so many scientists that say to me, we don't have enough funding, whether it's through universities or other organisations. So hopefully this will highlight the need for funding for such important critical research and for genuine people that are doing it.
Nicholas, we've had a lot of debates today about, you know, Australia Day, do we change the date? And the protests are in the streets and a lot of it's got ugly and nasty. But if you go back to that, that's the reason we have an Australia Day, isn't it? Someone like that.
Well, I mean, it's just an absolute celebration of the ingenuity and the brilliance of the Australian people. I don't know if Australia will ever put a man on the moon, but we could be the country that cures cancer. Like, we genuinely lead the world in medical research, and Richard Scolyer and Georgina Long are absolutely world leaders. And that immunotherapy treatment for melanomas has been world-changing, saving thousands of lives here and potentially millions around the world. And now the fact that they're trialling that treatment on brain cancer, and Richard is doing it on himself, he's making himself the patient, is just extraordinary.
Well, as I said, you know, finally, I think we got an Australians of the Year right. I mean, we've had some great ones in the past, but those two I think are going to be outstanding. Amanda, we've watched the Australia Day celebrations today. A lot of it has been overrun by protest marches through all of the major capitals. Melbourne in particular was overrun by, someone at one point estimated 100,000 people perhaps. I said at the beginning of the program, I'm almost giving up on Australia Day. It's worn me out. What did you make of what you saw today?
Look, it's hard because, look, I'm pro-protest, but I'm also pro-don't interfere with what other people are trying to do while you're protesting. And let's face it, if we want to take a positive approach here, it put a light on Australia Day. Everyone's talking about Australia Day. You know, I was at a ceremony today where 500 people became citizens, and I was an ambassador for a council, and it was the most beautiful thing. And let me tell you, not a single person there knew about the protest or actually cared about it. So it's good that we're talking about Australia Day. It's not so good there are people that don't particularly want to celebrate it, but I do believe that everyone has a right to like or dislike something and protest or not, as long as it's done in a decent and respectful way.
Nicholas, I saw some images of you this morning. You were at a national ceremony at Town Hall today.
Look, I did a number of events today, including, I think it was the biggest citizenship ceremony in the country at Melbourne Town Hall. And, Chief, you want a reminder of what an incredible country Australia is, go along to a citizenship ceremony. Remember, every person there has made the emotional and psychological decision to become an Australian, and often travelled a long way to be standing there at that.
So why out?
It's incredible.
Why out in the street do we have people holding signs about genocide and joining Palestine up with Australia Day, and people hating on Australia and saying F Australia? I mean, you contrast what you saw with those people who want to get an Australian passport and have a life here in the greatest country in the world with what we saw out in the street. Now, I don't get that.
Look, I think the complex truth of modern Australia is that Australia Day means different things to different people, and for a very significant portion of the Australian community, particularly Indigenous Australians, it's a day of mourning. What
are they trying to achieve?
I mean, I support the conversation.
What are they trying to achieve?
Well, they're trying to change the date. They're saying, let's find another day which doesn't, cause the same hurt for them. I do actually, yeah. I mean, I think it's a conversation we need to have. I was thinking about this today. Look, we could make the first Monday in February Australia Day, and every year you get a long weekend, and we just move on from this debate.
Amanda,
like you said, you were tired of it.
We need to change the day. I am tired. I'm
tired of it as well. Let's put our energy into a day we can
we'll get the
on.
Prime Minister to show some leadership and come out, and we'll have a national poll on whether we want to change the day. How's that hard?
Well,
Amanda, what do you think? Should we change the day?
No, we shouldn't. But also, this is a massive distraction of what other things the government's doing that we don't know about. So we have to be very careful that we're not being distracted by this discussion and protests and people being quite radical and say, well, hang on a minute, what's been going on? So that, the discussion's going off the tax cuts when we should be talking about that. So let's just make sure we don't fall down the rabbit hole and being distracted by what's really going on.
So simple. Get some political leadership and have a discussion about a new date.
Well, you and I are both calling for it now. I think it makes sense. Could be the first, 1st of February, could be the first Monday in February. Let's just pick a day. We can all get behind it, and then we can all celebrate the day, because this is the greatest country in the world. We should all be celebrating that national day.
The agitators be happy with that, though. Amanda Rose, always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you. Nicholas Rees, you're going to join us also on a Friday on a regular basis. It's great to have the Deputy Lord Mayor of Melbourne in furious agreement with me, which doesn't happen very often. I hope you both have a great weekend.